Welcome to the video. In this video, we're going to talk to a real estate agent that started his career at 19 years old, and he actually started as a rental real estate agent. So we're going to talk to you about some tips and tricks on how to jumpstart your business by doing rentals. So let's dive right into the video. Welcome to Coffee with Closers. In this series, we interview top real estate producers that are out there making big things happen in the real estate industry. That way you can learn from their failures and their big wins so you can start winning more in your real estate business. Welcome to the series Coffee with Closers. Today we have Rob Silva, and he is a real estate agent that actually started his career in college. He was just 19 years old and he needed to figure out a way to make money in this business, and he started with leasing. So that's a good strategy, and it's a way to make quicker commissions rather than waiting all that time to convert a sale and make a commission that way. So I wanted to have Rob on the show. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
And he's going to share his story and how he started with leasing and how that was able to jumpstart his career. So Rob, welcome to the show.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me, Chris.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing when, leasing, I realized I had a market to lease to. I was in college. I went to Salve Regina. I was 19 and I knew everybody. I mean, a small school, you know everybody, and they all needed housing, either for the next school year or they needed summer housing because they were getting jobs, things like that. So I think the first step is to realize, where your market is, who your audience is going to be. Mine was pretty laid out for me.
Yeah.
But so I quickly realized, word of mouth is going to be powerful here. Referrals will come pouring in because everybody knows everybody.
That's huge.
And if I could separate myself from, my competition, there were other, student realtors there at Salve as well. Yeah, there's actually quite a few. So I think it was kind of, who can I, just be the most real and most authentic with, and start with that. So something that I did to separate myself is, we're at college, we had plenty of parties, we had a lot of fun. So beer pong is still a thing that's still around.
Yep.
And so underneath the cards, the cups, I would put my business cards. So
that's
if somebody's drinking a beer, like, oh shit, now I have a
that's
rental
creative. Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool.
So I did that a couple times. I'd plant my business card around, like next to the Tito's bottle, or just things like that. Where people are going to be. And I think a lot of people responded to, the creativity, it was a little outlandish, but
it's cool
college
though.
Students,
Yeah.
They appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, so there was one morning I woke up, I had like 4 or 5 texts. They're like, Rob, I need you to find, I don't know how I have your card, but I have it. And I need to find an apartment.
Nice.
So,
that's awesome.
That was a creative thing that I did. It was my own version of an open house.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
So what would, how does it work? Like someone that just got licensed, how does it work compared to sales? Like why are rentals better? What attracted you to rentals? I know being at the university was a big thing, but also is there anything about the rentals that make you get paid quicker, or is it like, what's the story with that?
Absolutely. So rentals, they like, to your point, they move a lot quicker. It's more of a condensed sales transaction. There's really no inspection. There's no appraisal. You're not waiting on a mortgage.
Yes.
Really it's, I would have these groups come to me, 3, 4 students. They all have co-signers, because they're students. They can't really afford their own rent.
Yeah.
So once we had that group together, we'd immediately go out shopping, looking for something. We could take the applications in, 45 minutes to an hour and get them submitted that same day. And then, assuming everything goes according to plan, you get the lease, 3 to 5 days later. And then once it closes, once the lease is signed, you get your commission check. And once they get their deposit in. So really start to finish, I could do a transaction in, obviously depending on, responsive time and things like that. But usually like a week and a half, I was able to turn these things around. And then you have some where rentals can be very frustrating, where it should be a very condensed project, but it takes a whole lot longer because of responsiveness time and, groups breaking up, or maybe you're working with some couples and they break up.
Yeah,
and so that was a little challenging. I find the level of commitment compared to a purchase is a lot lower on a rental. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the time, motivation can be lower as well.
I got you.
And that can be very frustrating. But If you have the right group and have a good group that, hey, Rob, we're motivated, we're ready to go to work, you can close that in a week, week and a half.
Wow, that's fast.
Yeah.
Now, in comparison to a sale, I mean, you're looking at 60, 90, 120 days.
Yeah.
Whereas with something like that, you may be looking at 7 to 14 days.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So if you're newly licensed, would you suggest going down this avenue?
Yeah.
If you want to, kind of hit this maybe full time or even part time, do you think that's a better approach to going sales right off the bat, or what's your take on
Well,
it?
I think you need both, right? I mean, not a lot of people get into real estate just to be a rental agent.
True.
I think the rentals are a good way for you to support your income on a sale. And, like you had said, 30, 60, 90, 120 days is what it takes to get a commission. And that's after you find the house.
Yeah.
Or after you get under agreement.
6 months sometimes.
Yeah,
from
absolutely.
start to finish.
Yeah. I just closed one. It took me 9 months.
Yeah,
with these people.
it's a lot.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
So, to support yourself and to support your income, it's great if you can close 3 or 4 rentals in between the time it takes to close a sale. I think that is a great start.
That's
someone.
huge.
Yeah.
Now, just so people have an idea, how does it work commission wise? For people that don't know, like, what's the difference between a commission and a rental commission? Like, what's the money? How does that impact you in a monetary way? Like, how much do you make?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I represented a lot of tenants. So just like, a buyer's agent works with the buyer, you don't charge them anything. You make your compensation from the listing agent, tip maybe half or a portion of their total commission they negotiated with the landlord. So in Newport, I found, compared to a lot of other areas, Providence, whatever, they'll actually offer you 4.5% to 5% of the gross lease term. So whatever the math is on, say you're going to make $50,000, the landlord's going to make 50 grand from that lease. I would make 4 to 5% of that, and then my company would take their cut.
Okay, I gotcha. All right, that makes sense. So it's a smaller commission than a sales transaction, but it's still a decent chunk of money, right?
Yeah. If you do a longer term, a yearly term or a 2-year term, there are opportunities where you can make over $1,000 after the company makes their money off of it.
That's good.
Yeah.
So it's good supplemental income, and
Yeah.
it might get you off the ground and then eventually transition on into sales where you're making the big commissions and all that
Exactly.
stuff.
It's also a huge confidence builder too. You're working with a lot of the same agents that are going to be working with you on your sales,
Yep.
and you're building those relationships.
That's huge.
And the other thing is too, you're building your database with these renters. Renters today are buyers tomorrow.
I love that. Yep.
And if you can really build that database and you get in with their co-signers as well, the parents might be ready now. And if you do a good job by their kids, then they'll trust you to help them buy a house or sell their house. So it is a great database builder as well. That's more of the long game, but it works.
That's huge. That is awesome. That's something that a lot of people don't think about. They think about the money today, but with that database and a good CRM, you're building money for tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And like you said, they'll become buyers at some point, and they might even be high-end buyers. You don't know.
Yep.
So that's huge.
Absolutely.
So if you have any other questions about starting your career as a rental agent, drop it in the comment section below. We will do our best to get back to you ASAP. And if you like this kind of content for real estate entrepreneurs, smash the like button and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in.